The SOR 556 Mark II, or the SCAR, is one of the best assault rifles in Battlefield 6. It's got incredible default recoil control, ideal for those longer range battles. It also does decent damage and is highly accurate. With a couple of key attachments, this assault rifle can quickly go from a great weapon to nearly meta. Without further ado, here's our guide for the best SCAR loadout in Battlefield 6. Okay, off rip, a lot of our suggestions are gonna be subjective. Everyone has different preferences for playstyles, which means you might not agree with every suggestion for an attachment we consider one of the best. With that said, the framework for this loadout is a well-rounded build capable of beaming at mid to long range fights. Our guide will give you options for early to mid-level weapon mastery, as well as give you those suggestions for attachments to keep an eye out for in the later levels. We'll also give you relative substitutions in case you want to allocate points elsewhere that better suit your style of play. And while we don't want to get hyper-focused on the numbers and stats on the bottom of our screen, we do want to manipulate how the weapon responds when we've got our finger on the trigger. That means we need to keep precision and control, or in other words, our bloom and our recoil, as reliable as possible. All that said, let's jump right in. Starting off with our muzzle, there are a couple of options we suggest for building out a beam machine. Your best attachment here is going to be the lightened suppressor. However, this does require a high level of mastery and also will cost you 30 points. You'll take a little bit of a hit on your overall accuracy with this attachment, but you'll gain a whole lot on recoil control. For secondary options, we recommend the double port brake. It's only 10 points and will reduce the bounce on the gun like crazy, ensuring you can reliably beam enemies from any sort of distance. If you don't have that unlocked yet, you can drop down to the linear comp converter for another 10 points. Alternatively, you could also use the standard suppressor for 20 points. You'll take a bit of a hit on overall accuracy with this attachment as well, but someone who is on the front lines and doesn't want to show up on the minimap may want to leverage this attachment instead. Last, if you don't have any of these, then you can use the single brake for only 5 points. This will act almost the same as the double port, but with added weapon sway. Next, let's look at our barrels. The best attachment in this category is going to be the 18-inch custom heavy extended barrel and cost 10 points. This will improve your firing accuracy when you're holding down on the trigger, but also, more importantly, will increase your bullet velocity. And we want those bullets hitting enemies as fast as possible. This does, however, require a bit of a high mastery level, so if you don't have that yet, here are some second best options. The 18-inch USLB extended barrel is a great option for only 15 points. This will increase your velocity and give you a faster ADS. Alternatively, you can also swap for the IAR heavy barrel. I'd recommend this one if you're concerned with optimizing your accuracy, but haven't quite gotten to the mastery level required for the heavy extended barrel. Up next is the Underbarrel. After spending time in the firing range, I think there are 2 or 3 options to consider as your best attachments in the mid-level mastery range. Up first is the 6H64 vertical grip. This will cost you 25 points and will significantly reduce your recoil at the cost of movement speed and accuracy while aiming down sights. You could also opt for the ribbed vertical here for only 20 points. You'll get slightly less control, but you'll also get a boost in mobility, and it'll give you 5 points to allocate elsewhere if needed. Your other option here is the folding stubby. I've seen this attachment thrown around with a couple ARs and carbines for more of an in-your-face style of play, but this is one that's a personal preference that doesn't quite work with my playstyle. But for those higher level masteries, these are the ones you're going to be wanting for your Underbarrel. The best here is the classic vertical grip for 35 points. It costs a lot, I know, but it'll give you the best amount of control for those long range fights where you really want to beam. And if you've really got the points to spend, then the stippled stubby for 45 points will give you the same amount of control as the classic vertical grip, but with added mobility. It just costs a lot of points for not that much extra benefit. Up next is your magazine. You can leave this default, but I like rocking a 36 round mag in case I need extra bullets. Alternatively, if you have the points to spare and want to bump that 36 up to 40, then of course feel free to do so. However, and maybe more importantly, is your ammunition type. If you've got the points to spare, consider one of the following. Hollow point rounds for 20 points will increase your headshot multiplier and is great for those mid to long range fights. You could also swap for lightweight polymer rounds to increase your ADS, or for those that like being toxic, the frangible rounds will delay health regen on the enemies you hit. As always, if you're not running anything expensive and have extra points to spare, consider one of the accessories like the green laser or the red laser to increase your hip fire for those sporadic close range battles. And last is, of course, optics. Really, any optic will do just fine here as it's entirely preference based. With a combination of these attachments, you'll turn your SCAR loadout into a straight up laser. Let us know what you're rocking the SCAR with, and if you have any suggestions for what attachments you think are best, then please feel free to drop those down in the comments. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.